Hello and welcome to the Leaders in Insurance podcast. I'm your host Tyab, and today I'm delighted to say we are joined by Fiona Anderson, partner at KPMG Insurance Transformation Practice. How are you doing?
Very good, Tyab. Delighted to be here.
Amazing.
Thank you for hosting me.
Well, thank you for coming. And if it's okay with you, I wanted to start a little bit about your career journey so far. So you joined KPMG in 2010, spent about 8 years here, and then made the big move into industry before returning about 5 years ago. Can you tell us a little bit more about your career journey and some of the highs and lows so far?
Yeah, I'd love to. I've absolutely had lots of twists and turns in my career, and loads of highs and lows. So, look, specifically on the highs, I'd actually say it was leaving KPMG.
Ooh.
Controversial, right? I needed to, after 8.5 years, spread my wings and go and sort of validate me in what I do in industry. And it's one of the best things I've done. I came back stronger, better informed, more confident as a result of that. On the lows, I would say the various points in time where I suffered the good old imposter syndrome, where self-doubt kicked in. And, often that was around coming to particular promotion points in my career, which can feel like hurdles, and wondering whether I was all the things I needed to be to make that promotion.
Okay, so you talked about self-doubt, and now obviously you're a partner. Is that something that you've overcome, and is being a partner something that you've always wanted to be?
Good questions. So on the first, self-doubt is, I think, prevalent throughout one's career, certainly has been in mine. I definitely still have days and moments of that. So let's be real about that. Secondly, so no, I didn't plan partnership as such. I always thought it was a good route career-wise. But my philosophy has always been about sort of following people that I like and respect, and that the career would then shape itself. And as a result of that, I've actually moved around our advisory practice more than most. So I have spent time in people's consulting, finance transformation, operational change, and even in our sort of BD coverage team. And I love that variety, and that in itself has taken me through to partnership.
So you mentioned moving teams within KPMG, obviously leaving and coming back. A lot of situations where you could have made different decisions, a lot of options ahead of you. What advice do you have for junior professionals who are at a crossroads, maybe have a few options ahead of them, and how they can navigate their own careers?
Yeah. So my top three would be curious, be open-minded, and, as you say, Tyab, have options. I do remember a point in my career where I was interviewing for a role prior to KPMG, and the interviewers asked me, Fiona, what's your 1, 5 and 10-year career plan? Which in my 20s blew my mind, because I have and do always believe in having options. So be open-minded, have options, be curious, and know your why, so know your purpose, which will help you, get to where you want to go. But the key thing is there's a number of ways to get there.
So I wanted to talk a bit about the work that you're currently doing, insurance transformation. What tips do you have about leading a team through change then?
This is a topic very close to my heart, Tyab. So the biggest tip that I would have is around having really open dialogue. It sounds really simple, but bear in mind, in the workplace, we are working adult to adult. The more we can be transparent and try and unblock that immediate resistance to change that kicks in, and build a trust and a connection that what outcome we're trying to hit and that we're going after the right outcomes, the better.
So you talked about open dialogue and building connections there. What roles and responsibilities do you think junior professionals have in making change?
Really good question. My ask and my passion around this topic is around be the change. I know that sounds cliche, but something like AI is the best example of this at the moment. So as I've learned, the more junior individuals in our team have way better AI proficiency than I do, and a number of senior people in organisations. And the absolute key is that those junior members are reverse mentoring people like myself, so that I use AI every single day, which I'm getting there, to then be able to do that with our clients, right? So my ask is please be bold, please be brave, challenge the people senior to you and your organisation to be the change, but do it, of course, in a wonderful way, an appropriate way.
Okay, so we've talked a bit about your career journey and some of the work that you do. And now I wanted to ask some questions about you. So do you have any habits or routines that you try to implement in your day-to-day life?
I do. Some of my recent habits are that I finally learnt half a litre of water a day before you hit the caffeine. Makes a massive difference to hydration levels. What would my second be at the moment? I am always going on at the moment about clean eating. So I'm trying to eat from source a lot more, which means a lot less processed type food. And the third, I would say, is telling my girls, I have 2 girls, 6 and 9, that I love them every day.
Oh, that's very nice.
Because for anybody who has read Gary Chapman's The 5 Love Languages, which is one of my favourite reads, that's a really common love language in children, so words of affirmation. So definitely try and tell my girls I love them every day.
That last one's my favourite, and it's almost like you've read my questions, because what I wanted to ask you about next is your favourite book and why you recommend it.
Books. Right, I recently read Atomic Habits by James Clear, which I absolutely loved. Have you read that?
Yeah, I read that one.
Yeah, brilliant book, all about how building sort of small incremental habits really lead to a more sustained change effect than big drastic changes. And that applies, I think, both in the workplace and how work gets done and creating continuous improvement, as well as in your home life and those things that you manage to achieve. I'm going to be really cheeky and mention a second book from our very own Lewis Gilby called The Life Strategy, which, if we then go bigger picture, Lewis's book is all around really about finding your purpose and finding your why. That is another awesome read for anyone out there.
I'd definitely recommend. Okay, final question before we wrap up. 3 quick-fire qualities that you think are important for succeeding in the business world.
Okay. Smart, but to bring the solutions. I don't have all the answers. Be open to coaching and solid work ethic. They'd be my 3.
Perfect. And that's the place to wrap up. So thank you for joining us today. And thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Leaders in Insurance podcast.